What's going on, guys? I'm Jason.
I'm Josh.
And we have another Ink Tank video to watch.
You guys loved the heck out of the last one. It's been blowing up recently. I don't know how that happened. We actually got, I know you know this, but they don't know. We got a comment on, Ink Tank actually commented on our reaction video, and he was like, glad you liked the video, guys. And then it got a little embarrassing because there was a moment in the video where I was like, oh, thank you, Ink Tank. You do me good. You do me so good. And then he time-stamped it in the comments with a winky face. I was like, oh, a little embarrassing. So this is a video talking about the Q&A that Death Battle had, the Death Battle cast, I think it's called. I watched a little bit of this, and I wasn't happy about it. Jason, I know you didn't watch this, but I think Ink Tank is going to reiterate the problems. Yeah. So this is what pissed me off. I guess I don't remember what exactly they were.
I remember some of the things you've said.
They were like debunking the Sotobro effect by they were debunking the Sotobro effect somehow. They were like, oh, it wasn't Ben 10 Prime who was debunking who used the Sotobro effect. It was this other Ben 10, this different dimension version of Ben 10 who didn't have experience with the Omnitrix, and so it doesn't count. But then
they used a Green Lantern who wasn't Hal Jordan.
And they're like, oh, it's close enough. It's close enough. And I remember that bugging me when we watched the original Death Battle. They talked about Kilowog surviving the reboot. I'm like, yeah, but that's not Hal Jordan. You can't say that, oh, because they both have green power rings, that they're the same person. And one more thing, this is a personal thing that pissed me off. People were talking, I was talking about how, oh, the Green Lantern ring, they cut off his finger and it was in space and it killed him. And they were like, it happened in Injustice. And they were like, oh, Injustice isn't canon. So? Does that mean Krypton didn't blow up either in Injustice? Did Superman's parents not also die? Did Batman's parents not die? I mean, it's not canon. Injustice isn't canon. That made me so, it's like, I'm like, you can't pick and choose what things are canon just because it's a what-if storyline. There's only like
it still has information that shows their strengths and abilities, doesn't it?
There's only like two big differences in two big things to know about in the Injustice storyline, and that's that like Joker tricked Superman into killing Lois Lane, nuked Metropolis.
I actually saw that comic strip on Imgur a while ago.
Okay,
wasn't he just like so pissed that he basically just fisted Joker's chest?
Yeah. And he killed him. That's what happened. And but the other thing that he changed was that Lex Luthor wasn't a bad guy.
I remember that too.
You
even play as him in the Injustice video game.
Yeah, in the video game. I'm just like, I remember reading about it. I remember I played the video game and I read the comic and I was like, huh, okay. So yeah, this is good Lex Luthor. That's like the only change I've noticed between the typical canon and the and this canon. But everything else is the same.
Abilities shouldn't change.
Yeah.
Through alternate universes.
Yeah.
I mean,
okay.
Experiences, yeah.
Okay, yes. Okay, so one thing that pissed me off about this Q&A, let's get back to the topic, was that they made that argument, and then they also made like an argument about how they said that the animation, like the fight simulation in the Death Battle, doesn't matter. It's not like exactly how it would go down in every single simulation. It's like a summarization. So
you know what?
It's basically just...
Here's the thing. The animation is important to help us understand things. That's what it's there for.
It's basically just shit happening to end in the ultimate result. Like, I think I would have been okay with Ben 10 losing if they just represented him better. Like, it would have been different if instead of cutting off his arm, he just covered up the Omnitrix so he couldn't slam the dial. That would have been better.
Animation matters because it helps explain and show what happens in the scenarios.
Also, it's the whole fucking reason we watch Death Battle.
You're a lot more pissed off than me.
Yeah, the animation doesn't matter. It's the whole reason we're here. This is also something that made me mad. One of the dudes, the guy who voices Boomstick, didn't know that Ben 10 lost until he was halfway through recording. So who the fuck is in charge?
Oh my god.
Not apparent. You guys don't know jack shit about what's happening. It pissed me off. There's like a behind the scenes thing, and they're just like, oh yeah, and by the way, Green Lantern wins. And the Boomstick's like, what?
Wait, that happened during the Death Battle
analysis? No, it was like a behind the scenes thing with the voice actors. He's like, yeah, so get ready for that. I'm like, so they knew. Ugh.
Should we just watch the video?
Yeah, let's watch the video.
Let's watch the video. Watching the video.
I'm trying to move on with my life, and then I just watch videos like this. Click. Ink tank. Oh, rewind time. The
Hello
moon.
guys,
Oh,
Kuro the Artist here. Fans were requesting me to respond to Death Battle's elaborate Q&A to follow up their instantly controversial episode, Ben 10 vs. Green Lantern. While I am going to respond to a few of their statements from that video, there is one thing I want to address first, and that is about Death Battle as a whole. A few commenters noted that I was using points from the actual animation, rather than their analysis. Apparently, the animation is just supposed to be an entertaining representation and shouldn't be taken as a literal factor when they determine their winner. While the animation is not the only thing I talked about, so already those comments were incorrect, I believe that not accounting for the animation when doing an analysis on Death Battle is simply bullshit.
do it. With Kuro the Artist.
To put it frank, the animation is what Death Battle is all about, or else they would just be some other schmucks online with their own opinions.
Yes!
Seth the programmer sets himself apart with his very direct and satirizing approach to his videos. Just a Robot is, well, a robot. And I myself like to find ways to tie in focus to my crossover webcomic, 5 years later, which elaborates on my own adaptation and continuation of Ben Tennyson. I get that people say the animation is just for fun, and shouldn't be taken seriously, but that is too much like an easy cop-out that people can use to refute anyone who has a problem with how their battle plays out. Anyone can throw some calculations together and come up with an answer to share with people, but the whole reason Death Battle is even who they are is because of their whimsical animated fight sequences. Thousands upon thousands of people, including myself, watch Death Battle exclusively for the animations.
Yes.
For me, I do this because aside from Marvel and DC, I've never heard of a good selection of these characters. But I'm always entertained by the two hosts' presentation, banter, and the following animated segment.
Yeah,
I
they're
do
really
believe that
funny.
Death Battle started off as exactly what you would expect them to be. A few guys with some calculations trying to represent their determined outcome through an animated fight. But over time, perhaps the battles really do matter less and less. One of the hosts didn't even know who was going to win until he was halfway through recording his line.
Yes!
Green Lantern ends up winning this. What? I'm dead serious. Get ready. Okay.
So if these two aren't even the ones responsible for the information and animation anymore, for one, please stop harassing them on Twitter. But also,
Ooh.
what's even the point of anything anymore? The fights apparently don't matter because it's just for show. The hosts are more fictional than ever because they're not even the ones writing the scripts. And the outcome doesn't matter because no matter how much negative backlash they may receive, they're going to continue, and they're going to be successful. I don't want to say that each 20-minute episode is pretty much just empty content, but all the signs are starting to point that way.
Yeah,
Some have theorized
I've been feeling that way a little
chooses
bit.
their winners solely based on popularity. And while I do believe that there is some degree of truth to this, I like to think that they always have good intentions at heart, and just want to make people pleased with seeing an incredible, never-before-seen crossover of all of their favorite heroes and characters from many types of media. If these animated battles are the foundation, selling point, and most interesting part of the video, then the fights have to matter.
He keeps cutting to
They have
Iron Man
to
versus
be
Lex
accounted
Luthor.
for. My problem with Death Battle is their whole premise is built on these animations that apparently shouldn't even be taken literally.
Such a good battle.
But in the actual episodes of Death Battle, aka the only videos of theirs that the majority of people watch, that is never stated once. There is nothing to notify the audience that these battles are just for entertainment and shouldn't be taken literally. You have to go to their additional content for that information, which is completely unfair to the average viewer. Either they need to make this clear, or their battles need to make sense. Or else they're blatantly fooling their audience because if anyone disagrees, they can hide behind their animation is only for entertainment notion, which again, is not clearly stated in any of the actual episodes. It's almost as if that rule exists specifically to be used as a rebuttal, and they don't want people to know the animation doesn't matter, unless someone disagrees. When watching these battles take place, I'm expecting to believe I'm actually watching Hal Jordan fight Ben Tennyson, but it's difficult to do when these characters are not properly represented. So even if Hal beat Ben Tennyson, these characters have to be properly represented, or else don't even do it. Being a Ben 10 fan was always a difficult choice growing up. Not many people watched it, the show kept changing, and Cartoon Network eventually wanted people to just forget about it until the reboot happened a few years back. And as unfortunate as it is to say, the fans are used to people ignoring Ben 10. I never thought in a million years Ben 10 would be this relevant again in 2019, 5 years after the show ended, even if it's something smaller scale like being in an episode of Death Battle. In conclusion, I've surmised that I would rather Death Battle not even have touched the character. It's just another excuse for people to misunderstand who Ben Tennyson really is and what he's capable of. Death Battle decided to delay their Q&A on this episode a week later than they normally would have. This was a plan they have had for a while, but the negative backlash from the Green Lantern episode gave them the push to put this into effect. When watching, it became very clear that this Q&A was almost a direct response to my videos. The order in which they represented each question was more or less the order I presented them in my previous videos.
Really?
As if they were trying to talk to me. They also restate one of their quotes from Derek J. Wyatt, but correctly address him as an artist instead of a series creator, which I'm fairly certain I was the only one to point out. So in the event they are watching this video right now, hello. Now the Q&A was mostly led by this fellow here named Liam. Liam became very prepared with a large assortment of notes and multiple comic panel screenshots.
This is going to be image 2A, Gerardo.
And regardless of anything, that alone deserves your respect. However, I did have a few issues with his arguments. The first being is that his presentation is more biased towards defending Green Lantern. This is a claim many have made about myself with Ben 10, but allow me to vocalize a statement that I had actually scripted for my analysis video prior, but I cut it last minute because I felt it set a negative tone, which wasn't my intent. But in retrospect, I feel like it's appropriate to include here. In the comments of that video, I noticed a lot of people mentioned that I exclusively talked about Ben Tennyson, and did not mention any Green Lantern feats. Well, that's because there's already a billion videos out there about Hal Jordan, and not enough about Ben. I bet you can take every single video on YouTube that's remotely about Ben, remove the same amount of videos about Green Lantern, and it'd barely make a difference.
Yes.
I'm here to shine some light on Ben and bring a little more respect to his name. So if you want to hear more about Hal Jordan, there's a billion other videos you can check out.
That's a really good point.
Come back and compare to this one. To elaborate, I'm actually a huge DC fan, and aside from the MCU, I would mostly pick DC over Marvel in all regards. I've even been using DC Universe a lot, because Hershey has a subscription to it, where they have tons of movies, TV shows, and comics readily available. I'm not sponsored by them.
I was about to say.
Go check them out. So by not talking about Green Lantern as much in my videos is not a reflection of my lack of knowledge about him, but my lack of feeling the need to lay out his facts as clearly as I do Ben's. I probably know more about Hal Jordan than Death Battle knows about Ben Tennyson. So to say I am biased more towards Ben 10 is true in terms of which one I want to represent in my content, but not true when writing an analysis on a battle that involves him. I've been convinced many times before that there are clearly characters that can defeat Ben Tennyson, even some from the DC universe. Yes, I do like Ben 10 more, but I am not biased towards him when facts are involved. The reason I claim Liam is biased is because he pulls feats from any and all versions of Hal Jordan and phrases them in ways that make them seem irrefutable. But the reasons he uses to justify all of his Green Lantern statements are the exact opposite reasons he attempts to refute the claims that put Tennyson in our favor. For example, he says that the Soto Bro effect is not applicable to Alien X because Ben 10,000 was only talking about Clockwork at the time, thus it shouldn't count. But then uses a feat by a Green Lantern who is not Hal Jordan to justify his own argument, saying they're similar enough for it to potentially count. What's interesting is his Green Lantern feat was only a statement, but Ben actually proved that he had access to the Soto Bro effect by absorbing a bomb that took out literally every single universe in the multiverse except for the one they were currently in. He also claims that this Ben can't prove he knows about the Soto Bro effect, because he is a Ben from an alternate timeline, which us fans refer to as No Watch Ben. But in the episode, it's actually Ben Prime himself telling No Watch Ben this statement. And if you want to argue that it's a future version of Ben and it shouldn't count, not only has the 16-year-old Ben proven countless times that he understands exactly how time travel works, but No Watch Ben didn't even need Ben Prime's explanation. Transforming into Clockwork allows you to sense the Soto Bro effect instantaneously.
Once I transformed, I could see the Soto Bro effect. Just figured I'd suck the ripper back in.
That was a clip of Clockwork absorbing the power of a bomb that destroyed infinite timelines, by the way. There was also a case where they went over the fact that Batman can remove Hal's ring shouldn't count because it was an inexperienced Hal, yet used a statement from an inexperienced Ben. More specifically,
Yeah.
the very first season.
You want
of
to talk
the
about
original
inexperienced
series,
event? They used the
farthest
10-year-old
you could get
version.
from his potential. And what was said, yet again, was only a statement-only situation, where they said Vilgax tried to cut off Ben's arm, thus Hal Jordan's scissors trick should work. But Vilgax doesn't even get a chance to try to cut off Ben's arm in that episode, as he's interrupted by Grandpa Max. So Vilgax trying to cut off Ben's arm doesn't really prove anything. Also, Hal being inexperienced with his ring is not a valid rebuttal for it being removed, because Hal can still be caught off guard and lose his ring. His ring's defenses have nothing to do with his experience, it has to do with his concentration. I was planning on going through all of his statements in detail like this, but I believe you get the point. It is not a fair argument for Liam to use anything he likes to justify Hal Jordan, while using the same logic in reverse to refute Ben Tennyson. This is another one of Death Battle's main problems as a whole, is the fact that they composite their characters, meaning there is no one defined choice of which version of either character that they use. They attempt to pull all of the general feats and weaknesses and build it into one composite character, but that alone opens up the opportunity for error. For one, if the writers do not know a character, important feats can accidentally be left out, while if you decide to choose a specific version, it gives you more of a direction to go in, and a guideline that you must strictly follow. There is also the fact that while some versions may have incredible feats, different versions have different weaknesses. Liam pulls his statements from just about every single version of Hal Jordan regardless of where he's from, and some of them are not even from Hal Jordan himself, using feats from other characters and claiming that the same could hypothetically be said for Hal. Yet, he limits Ben to his teenage self, and even uses statements from an Omnitrix he no longer possesses, and he does not allow theoretical feats to work for Ben, as he allows them to work for Hal. Death Battle built their Green Lantern as a pretty decent composite, but if they were to build Ben Tennyson as fairly as they built Hal Jordan, let's take Ultimate Ben 10,000, who can access all of his aliens and his ultimate aliens while still remaining in human form, and has the Master Control activated. Equipped him with the Bi-Omnitrix, which allows him to access more than one transformation's abilities at a time, and stack up his many hacks and feats. Upgrade him with the Potus Altiari, which multiplies his power several times over. Armor him up with the Sword of Ascalon's battlesuit, which comes equipped with a reality-altering sword. Slap Skirt on top of him, which gives him even more alien combinations to use.
That's a lot of shit.
And just for good measure, let's let him wear his Ultra Ben visor.
What?
This may seem ridiculous, but all I did was composite together Ben's feats from different versions and pretend like they all just work together. I hope this puts in perspective how incorrect it is to use what I will now call Death Battle's Hal Jordan, as he is just an amalgam of random beasts from various Green Lanterns across the ages, which is not a fair advantage. Like, for example, you either get the Hal Jordan that can time travel but has a weakness to yellow, or you get the Hal Jordan that no longer has a weakness to yellow, but has not demonstrated any time travel feats.
What?
Which either should or shouldn't count, depending on if you're a Green Lantern fan or not.
Oh,
you cannot have
pissed.
both, or else Hal is fighting this Ben. Because as ridiculous as it may seem, based upon how they built their Hal Jordan, this is fair. And I surmise it only seems ridiculous because it's Ben Tennyson we're compositing, not Green Lantern. Now who's biased? Also, I'm randomly adding this to my script as I record this, but I just thought of another theory. So Alien X can duplicate himself, and each one of them can work independently, and every single one of them can time travel. So, Alien X can duplicate himself and spread all of his beings across the timeline to the very end. And since it is confirmed that there are not multiple different Alien X's, meaning each Alien X is still the one and only Ben Tennyson and not some type of clone or alternate counterpart, this means that Ben can exist at every single point in time simultaneously with one united consciousness.
Holy fuck.
There is no more going back or forward in time for Hal, because now Alien X exists simultaneously at every point in time. I feel like once Death Battle decides a winner, they feel the need to commit to their decision no matter what. And I'd argue that most people in their position would too, so I don't blame them. I say this because I feel that even if I present enough evidence to debunk their argument completely, they still would not change their mind. I did not make this trio of videos to inflict a wave of hatred on Death Battle, nor do I think they'll directly acknowledge these videos exist. I made these videos for the fans of my content that wanted me to talk about one of the biggest things to happen to the Ben 10 fandom in a long time. Because, as I've said before, I never wanted to make one of these hype train videos. I like each video on this channel to be a nicely packaged project, so something like this is a bit out of line for me. And I've also been trying to make it clear that I'm attempting to transition away from the spotlight. being a YouTuber is a lifestyle, and at some point you have to ask yourself if you really want to commit your life to your channel. And the answer for me is no. This isn't who I am. I want my work to be famous, not myself. And I believe that if my content, both with videos and comics, are really good enough to at least get me this far, then I shouldn't have to turn myself into a social media icon just to get you guys to engage in the product. I should trust that the product can do well on its own, without my face and name having to be the selling point. I do not want to just abandon this channel, which is why I want to continue this slow transition away from YouTube, rather than just abruptly leaving. Yet this past month's stream of videos put me in a very specific spotlight, and I hope you all understand that the joking and sarcastic guys is purely for entertainment, and Kuro the artist is as much of a character for me as Wiz and Boomstick are for Ben and Chad. I personally do not care for debating videos, because they just provide a platform for people to continue to be hostile towards each other in the name of their favorite characters. And while I do not support legitimate arguments, I also don't believe not saying anything in the first place is a solution either. Not voicing your opinion in fear of people misinterpreting you means that you'll never be heard. You need to trust that your message will be perceived clearly for those that listen with open ears. I even had one person try to claim I insulted Death Battle by calling them a bitch in one of their live streams, which is kind of laughable if you really know me. And I almost didn't include it in this video just because I don't like to draw attention to these sort of things and I just ignore them. But it's a perfect example of someone misinterpreting someone's statements and fabricating something that was not said. I applaud Liam for his efforts, spending a whole hour responding to more or less me directly. But alas, not just debating, but this whole YouTube scene is just not for me. And I have videos currently live on this channel to explain why. Now that this whole shindig is over, I'm just gonna go back to editing the videos that Hershey and Ryan make for this channel, and working on my crossover comic series 5 years later, and my artistic mini-series, Pen to Paper. But anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. You can stay up to date with everything on my social medias.
I love this guy.
Exclusive weekly updates on 5 years later over on Patreon for just $1. You can also join the Discord to talk to other passionate fans, and help keep the Ben 10 community alive. But until then, keep it busy.
All right.
Excellent points.
Excellent points. Yeah.
Pretty sure he was just spinning back to me what you said
Oh yeah.
prior to the video.
Oh yeah. I'm just because that's just my reaction to fucking the death battle Q&A. I was just mad. It's like I didn't even know about the time travel with not weakness to yellow, like collaboration that they did with the two versions of Green Lantern. That's dumb and I hate it. Meanwhile, they just depowered Ben to the 10-year-old version. Like, Ben in his prime, he should at least have Master Control. Then he can turn into different aliens. And he doesn't... He kind of had Master Control, but he didn't change fast enough, in my opinion. He can change so fast. Like, there's a part where he's, like, fighting a guy. He turns into forearms, punches him. The guy tries to swing at him. Misses because he quickly changed into a smaller alien. Turns back into forearms, uppercuts him, and then the guy like flies back, hits the wall, closes his eyes, opens his eyes to see the cannonball one flying right at him. Like that's how fast it is, and in his potential.
Horrible. He has been horribly represented by Death Battle.
It is. It's. I feel like I wouldn't be as mad if it was just better represented, but it's just like, haha, went back in time, killed you.
All the data that we have on Ben 10 tell us he should win. However, the problem is, we could still be wrong. It could have still been Green Lantern, but
I agree. I mean, if you explained it better and represented it better,
giving him.
I just really don't like the time travel resistance to yellow, like they did amalgamation. Did you know that Ben 10 has an alien that can survive getting its head cut off? Just fucking grows it back.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Yeah. All right. People want us to react to more ink tank videos, but a lot of them are about Ben 10. You haven't watched Ben 10. He did a video with like 2 other people ranking all of Ben's aliens from the weakest to the strongest. And I want to see it. I want to react to this channel, but I don't know if you want to see it. So what do you people think? Should we watch it together or should I just watch it by myself? Because Jason's just going to, if he watches it, he's going to be like, he doesn't know who any of these people are.
I'm angry at myself because I didn't watch more Ben 10.
No, but I'm not angry at you.
I'm angry at myself.
I mean, I'd be glad to watch this video. It's like a 40-minute video, though. So if you want to, leave me alone in your room for an hour. I mean, for that video, I already know my top 2. Like, number 1's going to be Alien X. Number 2's going to be Way Big. I don't know who number 3 is going to be. I don't know. Who's the 3rd strongest? Atomics. It's going to be Atomics. That's who it is. Atomics is literally Ben 10's version of Goku.
What? He has a Super Saiyan?
Well, it's not a super. It's just Goku. It's like an alien version of Goku. Like instead of going Hamehameha, before shooting a laser, he goes Hamana 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 Hamana. He kind of effortlessly kicked. So there's Ben's cousin Gwen has a power to like create these pink force fields. So she makes one shape like a ball, and everyone's inside it except for Ben. He's like, "Quick, Gwen, make a force field around her." She does that, and then he effortlessly kicks them into orbit.
Holy shit.
To get them away from the explosion, the building that's about to explode. She comes back down, she's like, "You almost launched this into orbit, you know?" He's like, "Sorry, new alien." It was the first time. It was the first time he turned into Atomics. Yeah, let's wrap it up. In the comments, would you be okay if I just watched the ranked aliens video, or do you want him to be there even though he's not gonna? He's probably just gonna stand there, just dead-eyed, like, eh.
It depends on really what kind of information they put in it.
They're probably just gonna rank them as about like.
Are they just gonna say number 1 is this alien, number 2 is this alien, number 3 is this alien?
I don't think.
Or are they gonna say why?
I mean, I'm pretty sure they're gonna show like clips from the shows about the aliens and like what they're all about. But dude, some of these aliens are stupid. Dumbest alien? You want to know what? Like the alien I think is the dumbest? It's this one called Blocks. It's a gorilla-looking thing made out of Legos. Are you telling me that there's an entire? Are you telling me there's an entire planet somewhere full of these stupid things?
Hope you guys enjoyed the reaction. I'm Jace.
I'm Josh.
And we'll see you guys next time.